The early and mid 2000s on Kids WB was one of the best times. Batman Beyond, Static Shock, The Batman, Jackie Chan Adventures, and then Xiaolin Showdown came out right after. It's Avatar mixed with Jackie Chan Adventures and pieces of Mulan. The interesting about it, when it started, it felt like a regular cartoon. Martial arts with cool powers. That's its basic premise. It has the same animation style you've seen in Beyond and Justice League, but by the third season, you didn't know who you could trust, how to feel. We didn't even know who was supposed to be the lead of the show anymore. Like Jackie Chan and their talismans, Shaolin has special magical items called Shen Gong Wu. Each of these grant the wearer different powers. There's hundreds, so I'll list a few that are my favorite. Gil's Hamachi would allow you to breathe underwater. Denshi Bunny turns you into electricity. Changing Chopsticks lets you change yourself for other size. And probably the most used in the series, the Golden Tiger Claws, which let you open up portals to teleport anywhere around the earth. Some Wu, or certain times of the year, could combine powers of multiple Shen Gong Wu, so the series had really no limit in plot ideas. The series was about stopping Shen Gong Wu from falling into the hands of Wuya during a war that happened 1500 years before the series. The Shen Gong Wu are items that keep good and evil in balance, but if evil would get control over them, the world would be thrown into 10,000 years of darkness. The good guys had Grandmaster Dashi defend against the sorceress Wuya. She failed and got trapped inside a magic box till the main characters get pulled into the story. Shaolin was the first show that I could think of where I've liked every single character, no matter how small or big. The reason why is that even when they made a guest for an episode, they had a chance to come back, they were developed for that episode, and they had helped the cast. You didn't get like a random fisherman show up for 5 minutes, give a speech, and then vanish and have no further point to the episode. But that doesn't mean I didn't have issues with some characters. I still did. What the show also does, a notch extra, it wasn't afraid to change the focus. Obviously, looking at the logo, Omi's head being in it would mean he's the main. Not all the time. Omi was the first dragon warrior to train under Master Fong in preparation for the Shen Gong Wu. His element he controls is water. This is where the Avatar stuff comes in. Omi trained basically like a monk, so he had no outside contact with the world and is obsessed with training to the point even Master Fong is like, dude, take a break, in not so many words. Unfortunately, with this upbringing made him the most vulnerable. He easily falls for traps and lies. But this is what makes him interesting. He at first thinks he's amazing, especially in front of new students, since he was the first. But right after the pilot, he understood that he doesn't know everything, and his friends teach him things that he lacks. After each season, Omi improves on his social skills, doesn't get attached to the Shen Gong Wu, nor does he focus on being the best. Like Omi, the other characters can control elements. Kimiko is the dragon warrior of fire. She's the most different from the other three, coming from a rich family in Japan. Loves her technology. She's usually talking to her friend on a phone, playing video games, and any other distracting gadgets. So her stuff tends to get in the way of traditional learning at the temple. She also has a crazy sense of style. Like every episode, her look changes. She had personal reasons why she became a dragon warrior. In ways, Kimiko is the opposite of Omi. Omi is patient, naive, doesn't understand tech. She loves tech, gets angry quickly, and is smart. So the two of them clash, but also learn from each other. Her training at the temple shored up her personal life. Next is Clay. Clay is the team's dragon of Earth, the muscle and the cowboy. Now you think being the cowboy would make him hot-headed. He's the opposite. Very calm, slow, and reserved. Clay is the best at thinking outside the box, which is very important when locating and dealing with Shen Gong Wu. When two people grab onto a Shen Gong Wu, this triggers a Shaolin Showdown, basically transporting everyone to a magical dimension where you bet a Wu that you have for the Wu you're fighting over and the other's Wu. These fights are never played fair. You win by outsmarting the other any way you can. There's no formal rules. Clay would be the one who would cheat and get the prize. But the writers unfortunately wasted him. He has his reasons to join, like we find out his sister became an outlaw and works for this group, but Clay really didn't get much moving forward. I think the problem was his personality. It's hard to get him angry. The only thing that really does it is his hat. So of the 52 episodes, Clay, I would say, got 5 or 6 episodes that flesh his backstory, but he didn't really have much in the form of progression. All that basically ends up being dumped into Raimundo. He controls the Dragon of Wind and is the least pampered of the team. Omi lived at the shrine, Clay his family and farm, Kimiko her multi-million-dollar company. Ray is just a regular kid, didn't have much in skill besides him being street smart. This, of course, ate at Ray many times. Kimiko being rich, or Omi while stupid with the outside world, is still a great fighter. He didn't take his training seriously in the first season, and while he saw Omi and the others as close friends, he got jealous easily. This made him do some serious screw-ups where he even went to Wuya's side willingly. It was the lowest point of Raimundo. I was really surprised the show went there. I'm like, Raimundo turned on them? Omi was the same way. He just couldn't understand why someone who's been training to be a Xiaolin monk would turn evil. Mistakes happen and Raimundo accepted that. It's not like he went evil and it was like that simple. He knew it was wrong and it was hurting him, but he still did it. It's funny. This mistake is what kicks Raimundo into gear. Once he unscrewed up, Raimundo changed. It even changed Omi. People change and the bad guys can win with just one mistake. After that, with Raimundo rejoining the team, it completed their main training. These 4 people from different corners of the world somehow worked. And some of that is thanks to the villains. On top of all this, the bad guys got some good stuff. Wuya, who lost her human form, now a ghost, needs help getting Shen Gong Wu. She finds a guy called Jack Spicer, who's voiced by John Carter's friend in Terminator 2. He's pretty much that stupid kid who has a god complex but actually goes and does it. He's the one who freed Wuya. Here's the thing. 90% of the time you just see him as this moron. He uses the Shen Gong Wu in really dumb ways. He'll use the sash to drink coffee. He likes turning into a monkey, so he swings around even like a bigger idiot. But you forget, he's designed robot minions, and Jack even opened up Wuya's puzzle box in 20 seconds. It was a puzzle box sealed for 1,500 years, and he just opens it while he's yapping about junk. His wanting power is making him dumb. And Wuya sees that. She's taking advantage of him. She doesn't care. She just needs someone to gather the stuff. What sucks more? You could see Jack knows it. You start seeing him not want to do certain things. So he's struggling on what to do. He wants to be evil, but when it's time to go all the way, he gets stuck. It gets even worse when Wuya gets a hold of Chase Young. Chase is really similar to Zuko in Avatar. Basically, the show does the reverse. Chase is the top bad guy leader of Wuya. She got fed up with Jack failing all the time. I love it when they treat characters like real people. Of course you would get fed up with Jack. So she gets someone better. Chase is no longer human. When he joined the Heylin side, he gains immortality and is able to transform into a lizard. Chase is extremely dangerous. He's able to read people's personalities because of his experience over 1,500 years and uses their faults against them. In season 2, he attempted to get Omi to turn and he was really close. Chase was able to bend Omi, who has the innocence of a kid who has no evil in his bones, who trained for years to not fall for evil, and it almost happened. The only reason why he got out of it was Chase, while being a piece of crap, he has an honorable side. He made a promise, so he was forced to let Omi go. The series can get pretty messed up when you sit and think on it. Jack is acting like a baby because he has father issues. Wuya is abusing Jack. It's why people have a strong connection to the series. Raimundo was a big factor in that too. He was the show's Kenichi Joji. Royally screwed up, he took the L and gambled with his friends' trust to bring the team back together. The team fell apart. They got emotionally destroyed when he left. That was the big cliffhanger for the last season. The show organically built itself up through the journey where they had to eventually decide on who would lead the team. Wuya became solid again thanks to the Shen Gong Wu, followed by the finale, building to a massive fight of the two sides. And it got canceled. So the ending never got resolved. It's one of the worst cliffhanger cancellations I had to deal with. There was so much buildup. The team was at their peak. They were at that point of becoming masters and stopping Wuya. It would be like if Avatar had ended right before Aang got to fight Ozai. There were a lot of unanswered questions that needed to be wrapped up, including several side characters. They just needed one more season. Now, people know there was another Xiaolin Showdown that came out recently called Chronicles. This series was a disappointment in a few ways. I get it. You can't just continue Xiaolin Showdown where it left off when the show started a decade ago from when Chronicles aired. So they ended up making the show out of continuity like the rebooted Ben 10. I'm not saying it's bad like that. It annoys you because they pull a Teen Titans Go where most came back to voice their characters. You have the original creator on board. You have all the same characters. So it's not like a different team to follow, which I would be okay with. It literally could be season 4 and 5 of Shaolin, but it wasn't. So for me, you get annoyed real easily, and they did odd changes. Some Shen Gong Wu names were different. Personalities were changed in some characters. I was hoping it was going to be like Beast Wars was to Generation 1 of Transformers, but it wasn't. The characters are reset, so they have to go through the same motions. They did do different things, so it's not a complete rehash. And they had Mark Zaslav write episodes. Hui co-wrote most of them. I just wish it was either a proper continuation or a complete change, because then I wouldn't ask these questions. As a longtime fan, it's a disappointment. For a new fan, the season's fine. Xiaolin Showdown is one of those shows that are up there for me. It has that special charm to it. The best thing was the casting. They got top actors from classic voices like Jeff Bennett and Jennifer Hale to bigger names like Wayne Knight playing Dojo. I really suggest watching this series. What's even cooler, Warner Brothers animated the show in high definition. They had that much faith in the series from the get-go. If you like villains and heroes that influence each other, fighting where they fit into their lives, it's a series for you. Thanks for checking out the review. Subscribe if you want to see more. And if you remember a movie or a show that's long been forgotten, good or bad, leave it as a suggestion below. I'm always on the lookout for obscured stuff.